It was a foggy morning here in Fort Myers, Florida, but it has burned off as it usually does here, and the sun is out. Final day of workouts before games begin. They'll continue working, but we'll have games beginning tomorrow with Northeastern University here at JetBlue Park. We're on 3 once again, kind of become our way from home. For 3 to the left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 49 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Tom Caron Lou Merloni, infielders, just reporting for work behind us as they get ready to go. See them stretching off in the distance, and they will get going. Again, I mentioned it before, final day. Everyone seems ready for some game action. It begins tomorrow.
Yeah, and especially with this pitching stuff. We've watched a lot of live batting practice, and we've talked about this.
Thrown 3 bullpens. Yeah. They're ready. By the time the game starts, they've already thrown 2 3-inning live BP. It really is far advanced over the years.
Yeah, it is, and that's probably the biggest difference for me, right? Like, the starting rotation, their first start in spring training sometimes would be 1 inning, right? Just get you up to 20 pitches and get you out and see you in 5 days, which kind of made the whole thing drag. That's why we always said it's because of the pitchers. That's why we got to be here so long. These guys have already thrown 2 innings each, like on live BP. They're ready to go. Their next step could be 3. You know, we'll see when the spring training games go. You know, the intensity picks up a little bit, so you probably. But even if the starting point is 2 innings, that is still a week ahead of where it used to be, right? I mean, we'll see if they get to 3.
What about from the hitter's perspective? I don't know if I even told you this. I got to stand in the trajectory machine the other day and face Garrett Crochet.
How'd that go?
Not well. They had camera guys in with me. They said you can't swing because I would have absolutely rocked. But I mean, again, it reminded me of why I do this and not that. Okay, watching that 97 come from him. But guys can replicate so much. I know it's not the same as the game. But to your point about pitchers, hitters now, I feel, are so much further along with their timing. I mean, they can go watch, Garrett Cole, if they're going to face the Yankees. They can go watch him 20 times. Like, they are so advanced in timing that then it's just that final, it's the competition piece they put into play.
They're ahead of the game. You know, normally you come into spring training, you don't have situations like that, a trajectory machine where you can look at a pitcher throwing a baseball at you. So the progression is usually, we used to do tee work and flips and then try to find someone throwing BP on the field. So the goal was to always get here. You felt like your swing was locked in, but it was like, okay, how do I get my tee work, my flip swing into batting practice? Now, how do I get my batting practice swing into a game? It's like everything moves a little bit quicker. Like their game live BP swing is already kind of getting locked in a little bit, right? Quicker than maybe it was in the past. So all that stuff is advanced, all that stuff's good for the game, and all that stuff helps with the hitters.
So these weeks are all about repetition, right? Especially with the defensive work behind us. The infield that has been such a focal point of the defense. The area of improvement is to limit the errors and continue to improve on the metrics they thought were better last year. You got some new bodies out there, and the choreography of an infield has to come together with work. We've been talking a lot about Caleb Durbin over at third base, Marcelo Meyer at second base. Today we're told they will switch. So we said, will they lock in at one position? Today, we're going to see Meyer at third, Durbin at second. Should we read much into that?
I think they have an idea of what they want to do. But, right out of the gate, you have Caleb Durbin, new to the organization, just got traded. Hey, let's just put you at the position you're most comfortable at, where you played mostly last year, and that's going to be at third base. Well, that allows us to look at Marcelo Meyer turning double plays at a position he hasn't played that much of, because there was a lot of third base and shortstop in his past. So it's just an opportunity to kind of get a guy comfortable and then see what you have. And I tell you, Marcelo Meyer turning double plays has been electric. Like, his hands may have the best hands in the infield. So now today they're going back, right, and just flip-flopping a little bit. We've said from the beginning Romy Gonzalez probably plays a role in this.
Right.
It has to. But the injury, he's behind. Like, it doesn't look good for him breaking camp. We don't know when he could be available, and that could still play a role.
Just got a PRP injection, so you're talking about a guy who's still considerably behind, maybe more than we thought.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he was down for a couple of weeks. Yeah. So now when he comes back after that injection, it's going to be dry swings, hitting off a tee, flips. I mean, we're talking beginning stages. Like his camp may start at the end of March, type of situation, or mid-March maybe. So
do you like, do you now take him out of the equation a little bit? Are you not building this because of where Romy can play? Because you might not have him for a while.
Part of it, too, is like, are we putting an infield together for our left-handed specialist, or is it the optimal infield right now? So you do wonder if they're kind of battling that back and forth. I haven't seen Marcelo at second. Obviously, he can play it. I have seen him at third, and he is elite over there. Durbin looks like a guy that may have more range at second base. So I think they're still going to try to feel this thing out. They want to see who they have behind them, whether it's IKF, Monasterio, Solgaard, Brent Rogers, who's also here as an invite at second base. So I still think they have an idea of what they want, but they're still going to play this thing out.
Remember last year, Bregman went down. That was a blow. Meyer got settled in at third base. And when they put Rafael at second base, that was really when this started to take off, right? The team started to play much better baseball. But to your point, you saw Meyer at third base. We know he's got the hands at second base. You brought this up the other day. At least at major league level, we haven't seen him show the range because he hasn't had a chance to do that. But we've seen the reaction time over at third base.
Yeah, you talk to people, and the range is okay. Range is good, right? Because people always say put him at short, move Story. It's like I sometimes need to see it. That's all. And what I saw from him at third base was absolutely lights out. I mean, he looked like a seasoned vet, Gold Glove kind of guy over there. I haven't seen him at second. He looks great at second. I think he's a guy that can play anywhere. It's just, I don't know, is Durbin, I just feel like a little guy, right? More range, big guy over at third base. I know that's kind of old school, but I've already seen how elite he can be, and I'm sure Durbin can handle second. They'll try to figure that out.
We've made the Pedroia references. You might as well stick him over at second base. He's got that build.
The other thing, too, is if Meyer is going to be a platoon, Cora has talked about, and Story has talked about it, right? It's nice to build that relationship with a guy every day. Durbin is an everyday player. He's going to play against righties. He's going to play against lefties. If he's at second, you're with him every single day, turning double plays. You can build something. If Marcelo's at second, now it's a platoon. And early on, it could be Meyer and IKF, and then all of a sudden, Romy comes in the picture. Now you get Story turning double plays with 3 or 4 guys again. So you wonder if that plays a role.
All right, we're going to have games this weekend. We'll start to see where they put these guys in. That'll be the next tell. Not sure who we will see tomorrow against Northeastern, but you brought it up the other day. With the World Baseball Classic now just over a week away, you're going to see a lot of your stars over this next week before they go off to represent their country.
Yeah, especially, starting Saturday, I think, Grapefruit League. We'll see what he does Friday. Last few years, not too many starters. I don't know, listen, the college game is different. Northeastern still has some power arms. But, let's save your at-bats for, professionals and maybe on Saturday, Sunday to really get your ABs. So these guys are going to want to get some at-bats. You're going to want to get 15 at-bats or so, I think, 10, 15, or so, at least 10 before we take off and go to the WBC. So you're probably going to see a little more at-bats maybe from the regulars early on in this week as they get ready for it.
Tyler Uberstine is going to get the ball. I joked with him, the opening day starter, sort of, here at Spring Training. It doesn't even count for that, right? Yeah. Because Grapefruit League begins on Saturday against Minnesota. Really interesting story. A guy who, really didn't start pitching until late. Didn't throw a lot in high school. Was cut from the club at USC.
The club team.
The club baseball team. He was the last guy cut. Actually got to the point where he'd been working with the varsity team, and then he got cut from the club team. He could have walked away. Instead, he's stuck with it, and now he's a professional.
Yeah, and I tell you, they like him a lot. This was a kid I had heard even going into the postseason. Remember Giolito, there was some unknown if they had won, if he was going to be available. There was talks about this guy being added to a roster. I mean, they loved him. In September, you were searching for him. It ended up being early and Tolley, but, this guy was on the radar. He had such a good year. He's unique. He's kind of funky. His fastball plays, and they like him a lot.
He's got his parents flying in from L.A. today. They will be here to watch him pitch tomorrow. I spoke with tomorrow's starting pitcher, Tyler Uberstine, about the honor of wearing a Red Sox uniform here at JetBlue Park. Your parents could be here. You get the ball first game. How cool is it to be in the middle of this?
Yeah, super exciting to take the ball on day one. Even against a college team, it's just good opportunity to get out there, get some exposure again, face live hitters, do all that again.
You've obviously been through a lot to get to this point, to get to this camp. But coming into camp this year, do you take a moment to sort of try to appreciate and put it in perspective, the journey and where you are so far?
Yeah, for sure. I think, being out of the 40-man was really a full circle moment, and, being around a bunch of great players here that you kind of watch growing up Definitely, take some time to step back and really reflect and appreciate it. But, once I'm out there, I'm the same pitcher, whether it was a couple years ago or now, and, pitching with a chip on my shoulder and going out there and competing.
You look across the way, there's Chapman, there's Gray, there's Crochet. Like, what's it been like being able to talk to these guys, learn from these guys?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I've asked them some questions and, even changed some stuff in my routine, just, watching them and talking with them. So I think just, being a sponge and listening to those guys and learning from them and watching them, can only help.
Your journey in college at the end coming on, I was looking at it, there's not a ton of miles on the arm compared to a lot of guys at this point.
Yeah, not too many innings in high school or college. Good amount of innings last year in my first year and got injured in the middle. But, still learning every day, just not too much mileage. So.
Dealing with the injury, like how much do you learn about yourself going through that process?
Yeah, definitely a tough process, tough rehab I had back, but ultimately learned a lot about myself mentally, physically, like as a person, as a ball player. So really came out of that stronger. And I think last year was, a good first year back from injury, and pushing into this year, same thing.
Getting to Worcester last year, what's that jump like? What's the biggest difference when you get to AAA?
Yeah, it was definitely a big jump. Just hitters a little more patient. The mistakes get hit a little harder. But overall, just the same approach mentally, just, continue being super aggressive on the mound, and that ultimately helped me. And, going forward, facing big league hitters now, like that's the same thing I'm going to stick with.
Last couple of years here, as a pro, the science now, the lab, what you can do, shape of pitches, like were you always that kind of guy, or has there been a lot of sort of changes as you've learned more?
Yeah, always been into the analytics. But I think here really learning the different movement plots and, honing in on the cutters and the changeups and really like maximizing the difference between all the pitches just coming from the same slot really, expanded the arsenal and made it a lot more effective.
All right, you're an LA guy. When I first talked to you, you had a Lakers hat on. Boston and LA's got a little rivalry. Are you ready to embrace the whole Boston world?
Yeah, I'm already a Celtics fan, so we're good.
Know your audience. That is a smart man right there.
You had to blow him up.
Yeah,
Tell him he's wearing
he's from
Lakers.
Santa Monica. He went to USC. I would expect him to be a Laker fan. But we talked about the story. Interesting guy, like I said. Cut from the club team at USC. And instead of walking away from the game, he was driving an hour each morning, 6 a.m., working at one of these facilities. All of a sudden, adding velocity, adding life to the fastball. Gets an opportunity at Northwestern. He pitches there, drafted by the Red Sox. Then COVID hits. Misses a year there. Working his way back after that. Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Like, this guy has been through everything, yet here he is on the radar, added to the 40-man roster because they thought they'd lose him in the Rule 5 draft. Shows what they think about him.
Yeah, they would have lost him, because of the year he had. Double-A and then finished the year in Triple-A. Again, like I said, he's got 94, 95, but it plays. The analytics, the shape of it, there's swing and miss with that. 94, 95, it's analytically, they really liked his stuff. Cutter, slider. Of course, everyone's got a cutter in this organization. Change up. So it'll be good. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I like seeing the guys I haven't seen before down here in camp. I can watch Bayo pitch, on Sunday. It's going to be fun. But this kid here, let's find out, because a lot of people that I trust really liked him.
You're going to get to see some guys you don't usually see tomorrow.
I like it.
We're going to see, I don't know what order, we're going to see, I think White Olds is going to pitch, Noah Song's going to pitch, and Jeremy Wu Yellen is going to be on the mound as well. Noah Song, obviously, is a guy we've talked about for a long time.
Yeah.
We saw him, the story. Naval Academy, right, was just starting his career, pitching well, had to go and answer to the call and perform his service for the Navy, got out of that to return. Rule 5 draft, Dave Dombrowski, who knew him well, grabbing him from the Phillies. Injury, can't stick with the team, returned to his original club. Now coming off a normal baseball season, really for the first time in his career. Yeah,
and that's the interesting part, the normal healthy offseason. We've talked about it many, many times for a guy like Chris Sale, for others, right, and how important that can be for him. When he came out of the Navy, he was a first-round pick. There was no question about it, but everybody knew he had to leave. The Red Sox took a shot in the fourth round. Took him a while to get that waiver, to get out of his commitment in the Navy, and when he came back, he just missed so much time. But this kid is electric, and if they could find something in him, this could be a quick climb. So another guy I'm looking forward to see. 97 slider from hell. This guy is filthy. So I just like to see him get back throwing the ball the way he can.
And Wu Yellen's interesting because we've talked so much about the lefty needs for this bullpen. Probably not a guy who's going to be on this team in Cincinnati at the end of March, but this is a guy you may see get the opportunity because they're going to have some lefties who are going to get some looks.
Another injury history, right?
Yeah.
His whole career, finally healthy last year. Lefty, little three-quarter arm slot, tough to see. 96, 97, swing and miss. Went to AAA, Double A rather. It was 37% strikeout rate. I mean, this is a guy that whether he starts at Double A or Triple A, as we all know. I mean, you're going to give him a look at some point, I would think, as long as he's healthy.
All right, one thing we won't see tomorrow, I don't think, is the ABS review.
No.
Right, that won't be till Saturday. That begins in Minnesota. But we were talking to Chad Tracy this morning, who's seen plenty of it over the last 2 years down in Worcester. He said they're the guinea pigs.
Yeah,
right. Those poor minor league teams. Yeah, we're going to try this. Oh, wait, we didn't think of that.
Right.
Let's show you. He was telling us, like, literally that first year, 2 years ago, 2024, they were sort of changing rules of emphasis as they went along, as new things came up. Because in baseball, everything will come up.
You have to try to think of every scenario and try to figure out the solution for it. But as we all know, like, you can see something you've never seen before in a baseball field. And I think with that, one of the questions we were talking to him is, the 3-2, 1 out, man on first, stolen base, ball 4. Everybody says hold up, it's ball 4. ABS, it's strike 3. Then what? And that's where the rule kind of changed halfway through the season. So it's trial and error for everybody. I tell you, the minor league staff is very important to the big league staff here, because they have lived it, just like the pitch clock, given their information, given their data, going through every scenario, how this thing will play out, what are the advantages, how do we gain an advantage? That's what everybody tries to figure out now. So he's playing a big role in this. It's
interesting, right? You talked about the runner going, and the original rule was it was dead ball.
Yeah.
Once you went to the review, everything else stopped. He goes back to first base, none of it had happened. Well, they changed now, right? Now it is so much in the hands of the umpire. It's his discretion on, did the runner go full speed and you tagged him out? Well, then maybe he's out because he didn't let up. If you let up and you tagged him out, the umpire can say, nah, he'd have had the bag if he'd have kept running. So he gets it, or he goes back to first. Like, there's a lot up in the air. And I think even for the major league umpires, this is going to be a feeling out process over the course of spring training.
Yeah, I think it will. I think the minor league guys have been doing it for a couple of years. So they're kind of confident in what their zone may be, especially in and out, right on the edges. Big league umpires, they have their ways. They've been here now for 15 years. This is my zone. They have perfected it. They're major league umpires. Contrary to popular opinion, they're actually better than a lot of people think, because 97 with sink and not knowing it's going to be a slider split, that's not exactly an easy job, but it'll be a big adjustment for them.
Also interesting to point out, it's really going to be the first time that we see the ABS review system with the video replay review system.
The challenges.
Because they don't have that. There are challenges in the minors. So you could have that guy going, he gets tagged out, umpire says no, it's a strike, but he would have had the bag, he's safe. Then they review, he lost contact in the bag, now he's out. That play could change 4 times over the course of 15 seconds.
So we could go tap right into a challenge.
Tap to a challenge, to out, to safe, to out.
Like a third base coach with all the new rules.
Keep your eyes open as this all comes together. I actually think, though, fans are going to enjoy the ABS review. It's like if you watch tennis, when they put that up there, it's a fault. The crowd goes wild in the stadium. You see it at home. We all get it at the same time. It's kind of a fun moment.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be up on the board. It's going to be really quick. It's a tap. It's an umpire turns around. We're challenging, and it's already up on the board. We see it. Let's move on.
All right. One guy who doesn't have to worry about it as much as he once might have is Willson Contreras. A couple of years ago, when he was a catcher, he'd have been all over this. Right. Now he's a first baseman here with the Red Sox in his first camp. He sat down with us. You'll hear that as we continue. 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, rolls on after this. 3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
We began the show telling you that Caleb Durbin would probably be at second base for the workouts. And sure enough, Caleb Durbin's at third base.
It's all very fluid, TC.
It is a very fluid situation here at spring training. So Marcelo Myers still at second, Durbin still at third. That's where they have been through much of camp. And we thought that might change today, and maybe it will as we go, but it hasn't yet.
No, not yet. I mean, he even said that yesterday, didn't he? He was going to work on, flip him a little bit here today. So we don't know. Get some more work in there. I'm sure at some point they'll flip just to get a little bit of work at both.
The day is just getting started. We'll see how it all plays out. Meantime, yesterday we watched. We've been watching every day live BP, and Ranger Suarez. He looks like he's in midseason form now because there's just, he's just out there baffling guys at the plate. He's not overpowering anybody. He won't overpower anybody. But the loud noise you will hear in the background as you look at Suarez here is Wilyer Abreu absolutely smoking one off the wall. And Abreu had a good day yesterday. He hit a couple of guys, but doing that against a lefty is a really good sign for what they hope Abreu to be this year.
Wilyer Abreu's most important stat is games played. If Wilyer can get 140, last year 118, but really 108 before the injury happened with the oblique or the hamstring, he's going to hit 30 home runs. He's going to win his third Gold Glove, and you can decide what class that puts him in Major League Baseball. The one thing last year was the swing and miss. Now, it got better. The K rate, the swing and miss, the chase, the whiff rate, it was 28, 29%, got down to 24. Can you take one more jump down? The swing looks a lot shorter this year, which is maybe he can get to that fastball up, which is kind of like his bugaboo a little bit. But this is a guy, he's always been less is more, right? When he goes in ruts, he's chasing the fastball up. He's trying to hit it 500 feet. He just needs to touch it. He's so strong. And it looks like this year, I absolutely love what I've seen here in this first week from him.
There's been a lot of talk of who's the 30 home run guy on this team. He's probably the closest.
100%. He had 22 home runs in 108 games before he tweaked his hammy August 17th. I mean, he was going to hit 30 home runs as it was. This is why we talk about the skeleton crew they had in New York in the postseason. What's the reason for it? Your best hitter, Roman Anthony, was hurt, and your best power hitter, Abreu, was hurt too. He came back for the last 4 games after missing 40, so he wasn't right. But those two guys, games played, most important stat.
You start talking about Abreu 25 plus, Story if he can be 25 plus, Contreras 25 plus, Roman Anthony 20 plus. Like, you start to say, okay, maybe there's not a 40 home run guy on this team, but if you can get 4 guys in the mid to upper 20s, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't expect that. I see these stats coming out with 18 home runs leading the team, and it's like, what is everyone going to have a career low? Everyone's hit over that. You got like 4 guys that hit over that before in their career, and consistently kind of when they're healthy. Roman hasn't yet, but still, I mean, this guy had 6 homers in his last 20 games. He was figuring it out last year, so I don't know where that number comes from. I'd be shocked if everyone's healthy and doesn't hit 20, but you're going to have 4 guys hitting over 20 and a couple touching 30.
No doubt about that. Contreras expected to be a big part of that, the acquisition from the Cardinals in the offseason. Remember, at this point last year, he was transitioning to first base for the first time with the Cardinals, and obviously it went well. He wound up by the end of the year. He was one of the best defensive first basemen in the game.
It takes a while. I mean, when you're back there behind the plate and the adjustment of kind of moving the first base, it's just your whole life has been behind the plate. Now I'm learning a new position. So that first month, he really struggled when you look at some of the numbers. Started getting comfortable over there, and you saw the numbers jump offensively. I expect another big year from him offensively. And to be honest with you, feeling more comfortable at first, and the defensive metrics going up as well.
Contreras joined us yesterday on Red Sox in Fort Myers. Had a great conversation with the new first baseman of the Red Sox.
I thank you for the opportunity, and these few days have been amazing. Happy to be here, and the welcoming that I received it was amazing.
So take me through the off season, right? You get traded over here to Boston. Yeah. Sonny Gray gets traded first, your teammate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you had to waive your no trade, correct?
Yes.
What made you look at Boston and say, yeah, that's someplace I want to be?
Well, first of all, I wasn't expecting Boston to go after me. Once they did, I just reviewed the roster and the foundation they have in the minor leagues. And I have no doubt that it was one of the teams that I wanted to play for. When I reached my free agency, Boston was one of the destinations that I wanted to be in as a catcher. It didn't work out, but I'm already here right now, and I'm happy to be here. So, like I told them, I'm really thankful for this opportunity.
By the end of the year, you were grading out as one of the best defensive first basemen in the game. Run it back to this time a year ago. What was that transition like? I know you talked to Ozzie Smith, of all people, about working on the infield, but was it a challenge in those early couple of months, or did it come pretty quickly?
I mean, when I was young, when I was 17, I signed as a third baseman, and then I got converted to catcher. Then when they asked me to move to first base, I took it as a challenge. I think every position is really challenging. It's not an easy position, and but I was willing to listen, willing to learn. I asked as many questions as I could about the first base, the angles, all the stuff. I'm really thankful for having Ozzie Smith on my side. I have a Stubby Clap with them, and Jose Oquendo that works out with me day in, day out. And I think the willingness that I had, that I put, the work that I put, it paid off.
You know, being a catcher your whole life, like, you have other responsibilities, right? You're trying to get pitchers through, you're going through game plans, so there's a lot of time spent on getting through the game behind the plate.
Yeah.
Now at first base, once you got comfortable, did you sort of feel like all that's off your shoulders and really it's now about banging, it's about offense?
Yeah, I really, like April last year was really tough for me because I felt like I wasn't part of the game, even though I was playing first base. But I used to catch for so many years that that transition of in the mental side came later, came in May, and then that's when I felt like that. I felt like, okay, you're not catching anymore. You don't have to think about it anymore. Just go out there, play first base the best you can, and then focus on hitting the best you can. So that's what I did last year.
As a catcher, you take a lot of pride in helping the pitcher.
Yeah.
As a first baseman, how much pride do you take in helping out your infielders? Coming off the bag, making a pick, picking them up.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same as a catcher because you're catching the ball from everywhere and from every angle. You're picking up balls. You're trying to make almost every play. So I feel like I have the responsibility of making the infield better. And like I told them, you just throw there. I'll see what I can do to catch. But I have confidence in myself. I know that I put a good number last year. There's always room to improve, and that's the way I feel.
You know, for a lot of Red Sox fans, maybe haven't seen you play, like, you love playing the game. You're an emotional guy. Have you always been that on the field, like showing your emotion on the game?
Yes, I think the emotion makes me better. Sometimes it takes the best out of me. And once I tried to change and everything wasn't the same, so I went back to old Willie. And I think it's just the mindset that I have, the way I play to own the field, to own the game, to help the team in any way I can, and to fight for them. Because at the end of the day, we are a team, we stick together, we fight together, we win together, and we lose together.
Your swing profiles for Fenway Park. You know, we know what that pull side air power can do. Is it important, though, not to let it change your swing? You can't look at that green monster and say, okay, I'm going up there every day.
Yeah, I think the number of last year were, like, the pull side were good, but to be honest, I wasn't even trying to pull the ball. Just the game dictate what I needed to do. And some of them, I just was right on time, and I was able to pull the ball. But yeah, I'm looking forward to play in Boston, to play with Green Monster, and see what happens.
You're participating, in the WBC, and you got guys like Ranger Suarez and Willie Abreu with you as well. Yeah. Just curious where you feel right now. I saw your live BP. You almost hit Bayo with a line drive. You almost hit Early with a line drive. Your seat locked in, but you must be excited representing your country.
Yes, I think it's a great opportunity for me, for Ranger, and for Willie to represent Venezuela. It's a dream come true for me. I think I know I said no in 2017. I said no in 2023, but this year I had to be there. I'm thankful that I received the call that they wanted me to be there, and I didn't hesitate of representing Venezuela. It makes me proud to be part of my country, part of that great lineup alongside with my brother. And as we're making history, and we're trying to bring it to Venezuela.
How much do you see like Willie Abreu? I'm just curious because you from Venezuela, you follow your countrymen. What this guy has become the last couple of years, obviously we know defensively, but just seeing him here in camp, what's your thoughts on him?
I think he's a great hitter. He's still young. He's still adding power to it, and we have to watch out with this guy. This guy is bringing the fire this year, and he's really focused on working on things that he needed to work for the present season. And I'm excited to be part of to be his teammate.
17, you said no because you were just coming off your rookie season.
Yes.
Won a World Series with the Cubs.
Yes.
You know what it's like when a passionate fan base gets to celebrate. Have you thought about what it would like to have a good October in Boston?
Of course. Like what I'm here for. I think the whole goal is to get to reach the World Series and win it and bring it back to Boston. It's been a few years from that, but I can't wait to start winning games and then reach the playoff and we playoff and get to the World Series. I know it takes a lot of work, but we're here focused on the work that we needed to do to play the season.
You're over at first base, but you'd probably like to be behind the plate with some of these arms you've got in this rotation. When you look at the rotation you've kind of walked into here with this club, it's got to kind of excite you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like I said before, I think Narvaez is going to have fun catching this rotation. It's really fun. To face, I don't know if I wanted to face this rotation. It's really tough. But I'm glad the front office did put a good work and put this rotation out there. I think they're going to help us win a lot of games.
I want to ask you finally before you go, has there been any talk of, extra innings? We want to pinch hit for a catcher. You can jump in there. Would that be part of the mix?
No, we haven't had these conversations, but I told them when I waived my no-trade clause, if there's an emergency that comes up and you need a catcher, I'll be there. I'm a team guy. I have no ego. I just want to win and help the team in any way I can.
Nick Sogard's breathing a sigh of relief. Guys around there don't have to be the emergency catcher now. They got you.
It's really tough being an infielder and being put behind the plate with guys who are in 98, 99 is not fun, especially with Chapman. Just imagine being infield and you need to catch Chapman, so it's really tough.
No, I can't imagine.
Good luck in the WBC.
Thank you, guys.
I hope it goes a long time. We don't see it till late in March when you get back here. I'll tell you what, if you're a Red Sox fan, you listen to Willson Contreras, you get fired up about the season. Like, this guy says all the right things.
Yeah, he's intense. We fight together. He's my teammates, but he's a fiery guy. There's a lot of emotion there with him, and I think he's good because you talk about Narvaez, Willie Abreu, Ranger Suarez, all from Venezuela, and even Cora's talking about he's the leader. He's the leader of that group, and there's a lot of good young players that can learn from him.
Also interesting when you talk about that pull side power in the air. He's like, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not launching to left field intentionally.
No, and I think that's. We start talking about, this guy, they love him because his pull side power. It's like, okay, but that's sometimes I got pitched that year, right? Guys are challenging me in or whatever it may be, and my swing was locked in. I look at guys like Bregman, Isak, Paredes. These guys are out there on the plate trying to hook everything to left field. That's different. This guy here, just sort of the way they pitch me, right? The way the year went. So I saw him stay up the middle a lot. We all know he can pull the baseball, so he'll be good for that ballpark.
You've said it.
Pedro came in again. So what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, we bench coach. I'm like, I can do it. I did a little bit in high school because in the big 13-year-old diamond, I was the only guy that could reach second. But I'm out there trying to catch D low and Pedro. I'm like, guys, just please do not get me in this ball game. I have no right being in this ball game.
In a playoff game.
You'll hate me because I won't be able to catch anything. I'm definitely not framing like a big leaguer. I'm blocking anything. I was like, thank God. But now you got a legit third catcher, and I guarantee whoever the IKF, Sogard, whoever they think can do it is happy. They don't have to deal with it.
But if all goes well, this guy never touches the catcher's mitt.
Correct.
You want him at first base as often as you can.
I want him there every single day. He gives him the occasional days off. And I think what he said was really true. Now that he's comfortable at first base, and I did this in Cleveland actually one year against lefties, as opposed to playing second, third, and short, not knowing. Once you get it down, you're like, all I have to do is focus on hitting. You know what I mean? I got that down, the footwork. I kind of know what I'm doing. I work on my picks. I'll work on it, but obviously. But it's such a relief, especially from catching and calling a game. He's just focused on banging.
All right, Willson Contreras, a big part of this team for 2026. Again, he'll be leaving. in a little over a week, about 9 days, he'll leave to represent Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic. 14 players leaving camp to go play in the WBC this year. So these early games, first week of baseball, is going to be interesting here at spring training because you'll probably see your A team out there in these early games as much as possible. Rolling into that first weekend of games here in Fort Myers, our coverage of workouts continuing after this. It's 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. I just talked about Willson Contreras being the everyday first baseman for this team, which leads a lot of people to ask what that means for Tristan Casas. Now, Casas, of course, working his way back from the injury, that gruesome injury last year that took him out for the rest of the year. He has been here in Fort Myers this entire offseason working towards a return, and he is confident he will make that in the 2026 season. I spoke with Casas here in the clubhouse earlier today. Just, like I was asking before, what you're going through right now on the field, you're full go, right? Healthy, feeling good?
Yeah, as of right now, full go with all the activities that I'm allowed to do. And, yeah, just taking it one day at a time, not getting too ahead of myself planning-wise. But, yeah, once I'm out there, I feel great. And it's just a lot of fun being out there with the guys. So it feels like normal again.
How good does that feel? How good does normal feel after the last couple of years, everything you've been through?
Yeah, it definitely feels awesome. Been working really hard for the last week. It was something that I had circled on my calendar, September, October, wanting to be out there for the first workout. And, that was an accomplishment in its own right. And everybody seems pleasantly surprised with my progress. And, the guys in here have been instilling a lot of confidence in me that, I'm needed. And at some point, my duties are going to be called upon. So just to be ready and, work hard for that day.
I know when they had the sort of organizational meetings the other day, there was a lot of talk about family and support and pulling for one another. You just said you're getting that message from a lot of people. What does that mean? What does it mean when you're hearing that from the guys in this room?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has been awesome with me, the trainers, the coaches, the staff. instilling that confidence in me, to come to work every day with a purpose and a plan. And there's a lot of time for me to, think about the future and try to get too ahead of myself, but they've been really keeping me grounded, keeping me in a good headspace to make sure that I'm, at my best every single day, mentally, physically, because, the mind-body connection is huge, and I think, I'm in the right direction.
Talk about confidence. You're a confident guy. You don't get here without being self-confident, but I'm sure that's been put to the test here the last couple of years. Has there been moments of self-doubt? Are there moments you got to sort of take a deep breath and remember who you are and what it'll take to get through this?
No moments of self-doubt whatsoever. I'm completely confident in my abilities, and in the trainers, the coaches, and the staff. I trust 100%, whatever plans they have for me. And, I feel like I'm in a good position right now to, continue my rehab process and finish it strong. But, yeah, I'm ultra confident still in myself. I know my abilities are, to this caliber. So I think all things are pointing in the right direction towards having a good, healthy season.
And then the other end of it, like you said, there's a lot of time to think too far down the road, right? Where does this go? Where do I fit in? How do you, what kind of challenge has that been to sort of just focus in on the moment, focus in on the work?
Yeah, just being present, just trying to be where my feet are at, maximizing today, and hopefully, that'll take care of tomorrow. So I feel like that's what I've been doing every week. I've been seeing a lot of improvements over the month, after an accumulative amount of time of really just putting my head down and seeing where I land after a certain amount of time. I've been, encouraged by the results. So I'm just going to keep that same process, that same mindset of just controlling what I can today in the moment. I got my plan for the rest of this week and next, and then the doctors will reevaluate me the first week of next month. So, we'll try to check off some other boxes like sliding, running bases, and then after that it'll be showtime.
I want to ask you.
No.
Want to ask you finally. I feel like you have as loyal and passionate a fan base within the Red Sox universe as anyone I've covered for a long time. Have you heard from them through this? Like, what have those fans meant to you as you have worked your way back?
Yeah, I sure have. I've been getting all the messages, good and bad, and I love how passionate this fan base is. I do everything for the city. Those 6 letters on that jersey mean everything to me, whether it's Red Sox or whether it's Boston, and it's the motivation behind every single morning I wake up, and every swing that I take in the cage, every ground ball. I mean, I just want to bring a championship back to the city, and they always preach to us like there's nothing like winning in Boston. I want to experience it. I haven't yet, so there's a lot to look forward to, and those are my goals.
Tristan Casas came to Fort Myers days after the end of the season.
Yeah.
He has been here since October. And you talk about a guy who's just focused. I mean, what else can you do, right? You're basically rebuilding everything you've done to get here in the past.
Yeah, baseball is, and actually sometimes, most of the time, an individual sport masquerading as a team sport, right? Because it's like your job is to hit, teammates can't really help you, field a ground ball. That's what this camp is really about right now. I think for Tristan, it's really about him. Given the amount of time that he has lost, it's about getting healthy. It's about getting his swing right, his timing right, feeling good defensively at first base. So it's really like just a very selfish camp, kind of, right? Because once he is right, he will help this team. So whenever he gets ready, whether it's a start in AAA, option down, rehab, whatever you want to call it, I can guarantee by June or July, this guy's going to be up here with the potential to hit 5, 6, 7 home runs a month. And that's some pop you're going to want.
He said he has his schedule through the end of the month.
Yeah.
So that takes us to next Saturday. That takes us over the next 9-10 days,
yeah.
Right? He said then I start pushing, right? Then we start sitting down with the doctor saying, what am I capable? What are those next steps? You've been through injuries. That's an important moment, but sometimes the player thinks he's here, the doctor thinks he's there, the organization wants them there. There's a lot that goes
There is. I think when the injury happens, number one, I want to know exactly what it is, and I want to know how to get better. And then I want to know how long it's going to be. And then you start trying to check things off. You're always going to push. I want to start getting in some games. Not yet, 3 or 4 days. Right? Let's give it a little more time, maybe another week. So the hard part is like, you also don't want to push till you have a setback. You know, so if he's not ready till mid-April, make sure it's mid-April and not mid-May, right? Because you push too hard to get back. There's still plenty of time. Again, it's about reps. It's about at-bats for this kid, because last year he had a month. The year before he missed almost half the year, more than half the year as well. So he's playing catch-up.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday with the injury to Casas, and he probably won't be here at the start of the year. You've got Contreras every day, but someone needs to fill the role of the backup. Hopefully you don't need it a lot. Romy Gonzalez would be part of that quick fix, but he's going to be behind. So there is a little bit of an opening here for someone who can spend some time over there if needed.
Yeah, I think unlike in the past, like, you know, your bench players, your backup first baseman, you know, now you can get back to a traditional, all right, right-handed hitting outfielder, a couple utility infielders, because you're not overly concerned. And given how the last couple of years has gone, pretty much every infielder in this organization has worked out at first base at some point last year, right? So there's some familiarity with Romy and Sogard, and I've seen IKF work at it. Brandon Rogers is working at it as well. So it's if you're a utility infielder, man, you want to know all of them. So you want to get working everywhere.
All right, as we start to figure out what this roster is going to look like, unlike years in the past, there's competition for starting roles, but the roster is fairly close to set. You know what I mean? I mean, he met Brendan Rodgers a couple of times. He said this was his best opportunity he saw as a legitimate minor league offer. But he's going to have some things break the right way if he's going to make this team.
Yeah, I would say the injury to Romy Gonzalez has opened up a spot. You know, if he was healthy, I would say you got a pretty good idea who's on this team. But he's not. And the other thing you got to keep in mind too, and I've been through these spring trainings where you go home at night wondering where that fit is, and then all of a sudden you wake up and there's a trade. You know, whether it's off the big league roster, maybe you're moved. Those sort of things do happen. So you can't get caught up in where do I fit. And I think you learn that coming up through the minor leagues. And if you're at this stage in the big leagues, control what you can control. Get yourself ready for the season. Maybe it's here, maybe it's Worcester, maybe it's somewhere else. Because there still could be a couple moves made. You never know.
And again, as we've said over and over, it's going to be interesting once the WBC guys leave, because there's going to be a lot of opportunities for a lot of guys to play in these games. And that's not always the case.
No, and some of them will be competing, right, for a big league job. A lot of them will be putting name to face and watching their game, right? Cora sees reports on these guys, but this is their opportunity to play every day. You know, I think of a guy like Sogard, right? We talk about him all the time. The more you watch him, the more you like him. Does he do one thing, unbelievable tool? Not really, but the fact he does everything real well is a great tool. So a lot of these kids are in that same boat, you know? So whether it's a guy like Mikey Romero showing them that his bat does play and he can play second and third, well, guess what? During the season, you got a rash of injuries. Next thing you know, you remember that. You remember what you saw. And we've seen Cora do that with arms especially.
You see it all the time in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Right, he's a guy, I remember him in that
Brazier.
game back against Brazier. Great point, right? Got everybody's attention here at spring training.
Yeah, he came in from the backfields in minor league camp and closed. It seemed like he closed all these big league spring training games, and before you knew it, Cora's sitting there saying, well, he's closing every game. He's throwing 97. Like, this is kind of, who is this kid? And next thing you know, a month later, he's in the big leagues.
That's what spring training's all about. You watch the established stars get their work in, but you're starting to watch guys that you will want to know in the future. That'll be the case tomorrow when the Red Sox take on Northeastern in the first game action of the spring. We'll come back, preview that, wrap this up. 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, continues after this. 3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. All right, games this weekend. We've got baseball for you. It all begins tomorrow. The Northeastern Huskies here, 7-inning game. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock. Lou and I will be on the call on Saturday. The first Grapefruit League game across town, taking on the Minnesota Twins over at Hammond Park. What is it? It's Hammond Park still?
Maybe still.
There might be something else. Might be a sponsor tacked onto that. Don't worry about it. It's on the other side of town. We'll bring you the Minnesota broadcast of that game here on NESN at 1 o'clock. And then our first Grapefruit League game here at home. The Toronto Blue Jays rolling into town. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Had a season last year?
It's, you know how it works, right? It's a little bit of a long trip, so hopefully they bring some guys. But I think Bayo is going to be on the mound, so it'll be our first look at him. And I thought he's looked good so far in 2 lives, so hopefully he carries it over.
Probably not Dylan Cease.
He's probably not going to make it early on, I would think.
Not. First
Gossman, probably not.
Probably not. Masataka Yoshida will be in that action. He's expected to play Saturday and Sunday, I'd assume in the outfield, because he's going to go play the outfield for Japan, the World Baseball Classic. Listen, we know the situation for Yoshida here in the outfield, a crowded outfield. DH is going to be in play for some of those outfielders when they're not out there. What does the World Baseball Classic mean for Masataka Yoshida? Obviously, he wants to go win. That's on its own. But what could he do for his future as a major leaguer over the next 3-4 weeks?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure it really changes much as far as how the league views him. If you're talking about teams looking at him saying, wow, he had a great World Baseball Classic. Let's make a move and try to add a left-handed bat. I think the profile is the profile. But as we talked about all these players playing for their country, Team Japan, I mean, you talk about respect being on that team. And it means a lot to them. I mean, they're trying to win this whole thing as we've seen in the past.
3 years ago, he was one of the best players in the tournament.
Sure.
Like, you remember him rolling into that first camp off of that. You know, if not for Ohtani, he would have been in the conversation as the MVP of the World Baseball Classic.
Listen, he can hit. Period. End of story. You know, like, he can hit. Like, you saw him at the end of the year in September. He was your best hitter. He's just been hurt a little bit here and there throughout his career. You wonder the role. It's not his fault. He doesn't hit 30 home runs. But he is a guy, whether, you know, you look at the roster and wonder where he fits, but still, it's a guy that can hit 280. He can get on base. He puts the ball in play. Some of those things are valuable. You wish you could hit 25 home runs. It's just not him. So right now you still have a good hitter. So just like anybody else, go get your at-bats and have a good camp.
All right, this is the end of our live 310 to lefts in the morning from workouts because the games are going to begin tomorrow. But we've got one more Red Sox from Fort Myers coming your way. Red Sox from Fort Myers, presented by Mass Mutual, an official partner of the Boston Red Sox. We are with you tonight at 6 o'clock, and we're finishing that show off with a bang. Roman Anthony is going to join us to sit down. Can't wait to talk to him about everything he's been through over the last year, the growth and the disappointment of not being able to play at the end of the season, watching the team lose to the Yankees. Now back for a full camp, back with the Red Sox and heading to the World Baseball Classic to play for Team USA.
Not just the growth on the field, but the growth off the field. It's like, this is a guy, I remember last year in camp, realizing how big he was, and someone's like, well, he came in this year an inch and a half taller than he was the year before. Like, well, you're 20, of course. Your body isn't growing. This year, it's 15 more pounds. You look at him, and it's like, you know, baby's all grown up. Like, this man, he's a man right now. He's got, you know, his back, his arms, his legs. Like, this is an impressive individual that is going to be great. He's on the big stage for Team USA, and he's going to be one of the guys that's going to drive this offense.
It's funny, over the weekend, talking to ownership about, if you're telling fans what they should be buying into, this Roman Anthony's one of the first names that comes out of everybody's mouth. Like, this is, again, I'm not making the comparison as a player, but it's Mike Trout coming into the Angels, right? From day one, he was the guy who was the centerpiece. That's how they envision Roman Anthony in this offense over 2026.
Yeah, and the great thing about it, when he talked about it the other day, when he's talking to the media, saying, you know, how do you feel about you being a guy maybe teams are circling? And the answer was basically like, I've always been that guy. You know, I mean, it was like, not arrogant, but you know what I mean? But it was confident. It was like, yeah, that doesn't bother me. It's not the first time, you know, so it's going to happen. There's still some adjustments. Listen, it's year 2. They will find some holes. There will be an adjustment period. Last year, the swing and miss in K were up a little bit high. I mean, if you're going to look at any kind of negative that he possibly could have. So you start bringing those numbers down. He's such a smart hitter. ABS will be perfect for this guy.
Why? How does that help him?
Because he just has such a great knowledge of the zone. So, you know, when you, in the big leagues, you know, you got umpires, maybe different zone. He doesn't know the umpire. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter if you know the guy back here. Hey, does he like the ball down, away, high? That doesn't matter. It's the same zone each and every night. You let that guy lock in on what the distance is, 17 inches right and left. Like, it's going to help him lock in on that zone even more.
A consistent strike zone night after night. He doesn't have to worry about what the guy's thinking.
We'd always go into games, who's back behind the dish tonight? And you would hear the talk. He likes the ball up. He likes the ball down. He likes it away. Can't see in. There's none of that anymore. Everyone's got the same zone because of this.
That's why it added, 50 points you said, OPS?
50 points OPS in the minor leagues the year before to the year they had it. It actually saw a jump. It's going to be advantage hitters. Nice.
Let's bring some offense back to the game. Not a bad thing. It's been a pitcher's-dominated game for long enough. We'll see you tonight, Red Sox and Fort Myers. Thanks for watching. 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers.